Welcome back to Talking Wolves. We've got a brand new transfer news and update video for you guys today. Lots of rumours to discuss and talk about as we are coming close within the next couple of days to the January transfer window opening. Lots of rumours that have been doing the rounds over the last week or so. So be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and let me know your thoughts on which of these players you'd like to see in a Wolves shirt from January onwards. Now, Matt Hobbs said in the article following the signing of Matheus Cunha on Christmas Day, Wolves are working on one or two more signings before January the 1st. Now, Wolves are cutting it a little bit fine, but they may well shock us in the next 24 hours or so. Who knows? But one of the big rumours that has been doing the round over the last couple of days is that Wolves have an interest in Coventry City striker Viktor Gyokeres. Now, he's a Swedish forward who's done pretty well over the last couple of years or so. One of the top goal scorers in the Championship right now. Now, that initially came from a source over in Sweden, a guy called David Christopherson. Very quickly followed up by the English sources such as the Express and Star and the Telegraph about 24 hours or so later. Now, this is a really interesting one because obviously the championship market, isn't something that Wolves have delved into and almost neglected over the last 3 or 4 years. And there are definitely players in there that Wolves have missed out on. You can see some of the players that have really made the step up from the Championship to the Premier League, and maybe Gyokeres is going to be one of those as well. So, top goal scorer for Coventry City. Wolves looking at him, as are Fulham and Everton apparently. Some reports saying around £10 million could get the deal done. Coventry City fans thinking it should be closer to 20 million, but we'll wait and see on that front. Wolves probably do need a number 9. Unsure what the situation is right now with Raul Jimenez, Diego Costa not quite firing on all cylinders as of yet either. Now, Wolves, it was pretty well documented that Matt Hobbs, who is now the sporting director, was sort of chief of recruitment during the summer, went to South America to try and get a few deals over the line. One of the players that he was looking at was Enzo Fernandez. Wolves ended up not going for that deal. He's joined Benfica, and now it's been spoke about worldwide that he's probably going to be leaving them for £100 million upwards this January. So there are another couple of Argentinian players that Wolves have been looking at. One of those is Maximo Perrone. He currently plays for Vélez. Benfica are actually looking at this guy for a potential Enzo Fernandez replacement as well. Now, we reported this. He had been linked with Wolves before, or just after the summer window, I believe, as well. But ever since this post came out, Fabrizio Romano has now said that Manchester City are set to activate his clause to sign him. So the Wolves signing of Maximo Perrone is very, very unlikely, as Manchester City is set to trigger his release clause. Another Argentinian player that Wolves are looking at is Charlie Alcaraz. Now, he's a player that, again, similar sort of mould to Perrone, again, has been linked with Wolves before. Now, Wolves are looking at him to potentially sign from Racing Club. 18 million euros is his value at the moment. And again, it's another player that Benfica are looking at to possibly replace Enzo Fernandez. So at the moment, he seems to be the more likely one than Perrone, if that is to go ahead. Or Perrone. I'm not sure how you pronounce that one, so I do apologise. Someone picked me up on my pronunciation in one of the videos recently. We're looking at wingers now. Adama Traore, of course, his contract is up at the end of the season. At the moment, we've got no real news of whether he's going to be staying at Molineux, whether he's going to be renewing his deal or not. At the moment, one of the clubs that keep coming up in reports is Napoli. They're looking at moving on Herving Lozano in the summer. He's a Mexican winger, and they see Adama Traore as an ideal replacement for him. One of the big stumbling blocks right now for Napoli is Adama Traore's wage demands. We know 2 or 3 years ago, when Wolves wanted to give Adama a new deal, he wanted to be amongst the highest earners at the club. And we all admire Adama for what he can do, but when you're not getting the right amount of goals or assists, how can you justify giving him one of the highest wages in the club? So it'll be interesting to see what impact Lopetegui has, but at the moment, Napoli seem to be the favourites to sign him, and apparently George Mendes, who is now Adama Traore's agent, is looking around different clubs and seeing the options there in case Adama does not want to stay at Wolves past this summer. One of the wingers that has been linked with Wolves by Hungarian journalist Bence Bosciak is Roland Sulai. Currently plays for Freiburg over in Germany. They value him at 20 million euros. He's a Hungarian international. Like I said, he's a winger. Lazio, West Ham, Sevilla and Fiorentina are also looking at signing him. So very early days on that one right now, but we'll see if he could be a potential replacement. And wide areas is something that Wolves are pretty well covered in right now, but obviously a couple of departures can change things on that front as well. Another player attracting a lot of interest right now is Rayan Ait-Nouri as well. He's not started the first two games of the Lopetegui era, but he has scored in both of those games. Lopetegui may well see him as a left wing back or possibly even a left winger because he's doing well in those advanced positions right now. Now, Nice over in France have been heavily linked with him over the last week or so. French reports saying that Wolves will not sell him for cheap. They're going to want at least £25 million for Rayan Ait-Nouri. Of course, there's a clause with his old club Angers in there as well that we will have to give them 50% of the profit of the deal. Wolves can buy that clause out. You'd expect him to do so sooner rather than later. But Juventus are another club that are linked with Rayan Ait-Nouri as well. They reportedly hold an interest in him. But we remember a few years ago when Juventus had an interest in Adama Traore and Ruben Neves that they didn't want to pay the money. All they want to do is have, or I think Jimenez they were linked with as well. They either want to pay, have it on a loan deal or with an obligation or option to buy, or they want to do exchange and swap deals. This is the same with Rayan Ait-Nouri. It's reported that a loan deal with an option or a swap deal with a player such as Weston McKennie, the United States international, would probably be the most feasible deals that Juve would be interested in. Again, right now, very, very early days on that. But Rayan Ait-Nouri is a sought-after player as we speak. An interesting one came from the Express Star as well on Christmas Day in regards to the goalkeeper department at Wolves. Obviously, Jose Sarr is currently the number one at Wolves, but it said that the club are targeting a goalkeeper signing in January to offer more competition to Jose Sarr. Now, it won't necessarily just be a number two. This is going to be somebody that is going to be a serious contender to give Jose Sarr some more competition and push him all the way. Now, where does that leave Mateo Sarkic, I suppose? Wolves are obviously probably open to letting him go on loan or even on a permanent deal. Sarkic is a very talented, very good goalkeeper. Will he ever become number one at Wolves? Possibly not, but I think he's more than good enough to be a regular in the Championship right now. Still a fairly young goalkeeper. Maybe it's something behind the scenes that he said to Chiefs at Wolves that, you know what, I actually want to be playing more regular first team football because he was one of the players of the season at Birmingham before he got injured last season. So Wolves looking for a goalkeeper. No one linked as of yet right now. Possible players that come up to, on the top of my head that we've suggested and spoke about on the channel before is Bono, the Moroccan goalkeeper, did really well in the World Cup at Sevilla, which is Lopetegui's old club. That could well be an option for Wolves. But the club aren't prioritising this signing right now. But yeah, it could be interesting to see if anything does happen in January. Another player that may well come in on a free, this would be, is Isco, the former Sevilla midfielder. He's had his contract terminated at Lopetegui's old club, and Wolves are obviously being touted as a possible destination for him right now. Some sources in Spain saying that Isco is tempted in a return to work with Lopetegui. That would obviously mean joining Wolves. And 30 years of age now, full of experience, Spanish international, played for Real Madrid for such a long time as well. Be interesting to see if Wolves make a move for that one. With me talking about players coming in before January the 1st, that is probably one of the most feasible deals you could see that could move quite quickly right now. Talking about defenders as well, centre-back is obviously a department that Wolves will be looking at strengthening this January. One of the players that has been linked over the last day or so is Harry Souttar from Stoke City. Again, another player that starred and did really well for Australia during the World Cup. He has been linked with Wolves before, really tall centre-back. Not much of information on this one right now. That came from Team Talk But Wolves, yeah, eyeing up a move possibly for Suter. And to finish us off, another Championship player that Wolves are eyeing up is Alex Scott, a really highly thought of midfielder currently playing for Bristol City, a big part of the England youth international teams, under 19s and under 20s. And John Percy from the Telegraph have said it could cost up to about £10 million. But once again, Bristol City fans thinking he's worth a hell of a lot more than that. So be interesting, really interesting window coming up for Wolves. A lot of reports saying that Wolves could be signing up to 3-4 different players. So it's going to be a really busy month for us. Fingers crossed. Hopefully Wolves don't let us down on this one. Matt Hobbs, the sporting director, is saying all the right things. 1 or 2 plays in before January. It's getting tight now, but we'll wait and see. I'll give you guys updates as much as I can. Fingers crossed Wolves can get and finish the year with a win against Manchester United. Our preview for that is out. Our latest podcast is out as well. But yeah, Happy New Year to you all. Really do appreciate the support on the channel throughout 2022. And here's hoping that 2023 is bigger, better and stronger than ever. All the best, guys, and I'll see you next year.